Today we're going to deal with my neglected, orphan, unloved side bed. Was here when I moved in 7 years ago, but I never really worked on it, and I just threw stuff in here that I didn't know what else to do with. So we've got some daylilies, we've got some real lilies, we've got some peonies with terrible powdery mildew.
Yeah.
So, and we've got tons of prickers, which if you remember, I've got them all over my lot. And this guy is really happy. He's a climbing hydrangea, and he has been here, I think, since the second year I moved in. And I almost killed him on my porch because I forgot to plant him. But I think he's completely recovered. So I'm gonna weed, maybe put a little fertilizer, and mulch it with my free mulch.
Do you want to talk about that shutter?
Oh, yes. So I'm taking my shutters off because I'm a firm believer in, I don't like decorative shutters. If they're, you know, if I could use them or they were storm shutters or something. So last summer I took off all the shutters, and I only had shutters in the front. Except it was a really hot day and I couldn't get this one off. So it's been on all last winter and it's bugging my next door neighbor. So when we get done doing this video, I'm gonna go get a Phillips screwdriver and we're gonna take it down.
Good.
And I'll be selling them on Facebook Marketplace if anybody needs some shutters. This is the big size, and then I have 3 or 4 that are like this size. Got even more weeds back here. This is bindweed, which I'm going to have to start getting more serious about. And every video I watch says you use a, what do you call it, a fork? To me it looks like a pitchfork is what you use.
Yeah.
Because you want to get this underground stuff.
Oh,
because if you're just pulling in the weeds,
right,
it's not going to do anything. Oh, and it took me years to figure it out, but try to always use a bucket, just because then you're trying to pick it up out of the grass, any weeds out of the grass.
Well, I like it because that's a finite amount. You could fill a bucket and then stop for a minute.
Exactly. Yeah, you can, or you can say I did 3 buckets.
Right.
Or 15 gallons. So here we got more of the violets that I love the rhizomes in. I just think they're so cool looking.
They are.
But
that's how they get to spread so easily.
God, there's more of that bindweed. Anyway, yeah, I have to do this bed next. But, okay, I'm doing one. There's one pricker.
Ooh.
Oh, I know. I forgot. Well, if I need them. Another good thing to have are snippers. Short snippers, like for the rest of this bindweed. So we'll get rid of I'm going to get rid of pretty much everything as far as violets, prickers, and then I'm going to edge the bed and then put free mulch.
Oh, yeah, and no sound.
The one thing as I said, I've really ignored this bed, and just as I had little tiny slips of daylilies and whatever I wanted to grow but didn't want to throw out, I would plant here. I did put a soaker hose in here, which I think really helped. Though it's hard to tell because daylilies, you can grow them, they'll grow anywhere. Oh, yeah, yeah. So, but I think that helped. We'll get down to the real lilies. And even though peonies aren't very picky, I think they appreciated the water when I transplanted them.
Oh, yeah.
So you helped me discover that my peonies have powdery mildew.
Right.
And it looks like they have a chronic case.
A pretty bad case of it, actually.
Because I've never cut these, and that's what you're supposed to do, right?
I always cut mine back in the fall.
Okay.
So basically, because I believe that you need to leave the leaves on to feed the roots.
But in this awful case, would you agree that
I think you could cut them now?
And I am going to
cut them down. I leave like 2 inches or something.
Well, I'm going to cut them down till I don't see powdery mildew.
Yeah.
And I guess I should take the stuff from last year.
Yep.
See, again, this is why we're doing ending the orphan bed. These do bloom, but I have thought for as old as they are, I should have been getting more flowers.
I think so.
Goddamn bindweed. Do we know there's so many little gray cars, including yours.
I know.
In the neighborhood. I can never, unless I can see the person, I can't ever tell who it is. Okay, now we should talk about the lilies, I think.
Yeah, but back on the powdery
yeah.
mildew, they're on Google. I found a recipe for baking soda, liquid soap, and stuff that you could pour in there, water the area.
When they're blooming, like in the spring?
Well, it said to wash the leaves, but now it's too late. So
yeah,
you might even be able to pour it down into around the bed, around the plant.
So I want to talk about the bindweed.
Bindweed.
Bindweed. Jesus, sorry. I'm not trying to be odious. It's just.
I know, heinous.
It was heinous the way this bindweed was. But I just want to talk about this for a little bit. So we think, first I should say, these beautiful lilies that are just about done blooming and are broken, they came out of one of those bags of bulbs, which normally when I started gardening, people said, stay far away from those, because they're old and they've sat in a warehouse for a long time. But since I was at Costco, and all things at Costco are great, at least I think. No, I'm joking because that's not true. But I bought, and let's see, there was a peony that didn't last. There were lilies. These were all bulbs. Anyway, and it didn't turn out so great. And so when I had these bulbs, I put them in the orphan garden. And for, I would say, 3 years, these lilies, as soon as they got like this big, the rabbits would eat them.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and so I was just like, well, they're going to die. So that was one more reason why I quit paying attention. And it's only been like in the last couple years, I've had one come up. This is absolutely the best blooms.
They're fantastic
Yeah,
this
and
year.
they smell great.
Maybe because we had such a mild winter.
Could be. But then these two fell before they even bloomed. And in a minute I'll get up and show you. Well, I don't even know if I want to move them. I guess I can, because the flowers are pretty well. Look at that. That's really thick. Evil.
It's such tenacious plant. No wonder the farmers hate it.
Oh, and little ant colony.
Better than the maggot colony underneath the dead
and
possum.
I don't think ants themselves, if they're outside, I don't want ant colonies in my house or anything, but
no.
I don't think they're terrible inside.
No, I don't either. It talks about the aerial roots for that hydrangea, but it doesn't talk about that it would spread on the ground. Have you seen it put out any seed pods?
No, it's got grabbers and little. I mean, if you look at that,
yeah, right. But it talked about seed pods, which then I would think could fall down and growing from seed.
Well, look, here's one that hasn't even bloomed.
Oh,
I bet it'll bloom.
Yeah.
There's
one on that one too.
I was gonna pick these up to show, but this reminds me of those tomatoes. I think I should just leave them.
Probably.
Because the plant, obviously, the flowers are getting what they need. But they're at least 4.5 feet tall. These I didn't really see because they fell down with buds, and we don't know if it was the bindweed or the wind, or it can get a little wind tunnely in here.
Yeah.
This one was beautiful and standing up, but we've had some Midwest thunderstorms lately, so it could have been that too. deadhead that. They smell fantastic. Okay, so the whole bed is weeded, as you can see. So next, because I have a really hard time with straight lines or curves, I use this all the time for shaping out beds, and I will freely admit it. I have no problem with that. It just helps a lot. Then I'll use this. We were just talking, one of our favorite tools, and just do edging. Then I'm going to throw some fertilizer that I have just around the plants, and I'll put that free mulch. That if you watched the free mulch video, you know what I'm talking about. Here is the edging I did by hand. It's not perfect, but it's better, and it'll give the mulch a border.